Number my influencer girlfriend was completely fake. Bro, imagine sitting in your apartment at 2 in the morning, opening your girlfriend's laptop to order food, and suddenly seeing 3 separate debt collection emails pop up on the screen. Now imagine this is the same girl posting luxury vacations, designer bags, influencer parties, and millionaire lifestyle content to thousands of followers every single day. That's exactly what happened in today's story. And honestly, the deeper this thing goes, the darker it gets. Because this isn't just about fake Instagram photos. This story involves hidden debt, fake luxury lifestyles, secret loans, online manipulation, wealthy older men funding influencer trips, relationship betrayal, and somebody becoming psychologically addicted to pretending their life was perfect online. And bro, the scariest part? The narrator says he genuinely believed this girl had her entire life together. Successful, confident, ambitious. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, everything was collapsing. So, according to the original Reddit post, the narrator explains that he had been dating his girlfriend for almost 2 years. At first, everything seemed perfect. And honestly, bro, that's already how these stories always start. Apparently, she looked incredibly successful online. Thousands of followers, luxury restaurants, designer clothes, constant travel photos, networking events, influencer parties, luxury skincare sponsorships, boss girl energy everywhere. You know exactly the type. And honestly, social media has completely normalized fake wealth culture. People are desperately trying to look rich online even when their actual lives are falling apart behind the scenes. And that creates an unbelievably dangerous psychological environment, because eventually regular people start feeling like they're failing at life. Meanwhile, the people they're comparing themselves to are often completely fake. So according to the narrator, he originally met this girl through Instagram. Already, bro. Dangerous territory. Apparently she followed him first, started replying to stories, laughing at his jokes, sending memes, late-night conversations. And honestly, the narrator says she seemed incredibly charming, confident, funny, ambitious. The type of person who makes you feel like your life is suddenly becoming more exciting just by being around them. And honestly, bro, that's another thing social media personalities become really good at. Performance. They learn how to emotionally entertain people, how to appear interesting, how to appear successful, how to appear emotionally intelligent. Meanwhile, none of it may actually be real. So eventually they start dating seriously. And according to the narrator, there were already small red flags early on. Now honestly, this is where I need everybody listening to pay attention. Because red flags almost never start huge. That's why people ignore them. Apparently she was weirdly obsessed with appearances. Not just looking good. I mean constantly looking successful. Every dinner had to become content. Every trip had to become photos. Every gift had to become an Instagram story. Bro, imagine living your entire life like you're constantly filming a commercial. That sounds exhausting. And honestly, I think a lot of people online today have become psychologically addicted to appearing successful rather than actually building successful lives. That's dangerous. So, according to the story, the narrator eventually starts noticing weird financial inconsistencies. Now this is where the story becomes genuinely disturbing. Apparently online, she looked rich, like genuinely wealthy. Designer handbags, luxury skincare, expensive dinners, VIP events, influencer trips. But in real life, she constantly seems stressed about money. Now honestly, that alone should have been a massive warning sign. Because real wealthy people usually don't spend every waking second trying to convince strangers online that they're wealthy. But apparently every time he questioned anything, she had an explanation. Oh, this was sponsored. My manager covered this. It's networking. I got invited. Bro. Social media culture has created entire ecosystems built around fake status. And honestly, I think millions of people are quietly drowning financially trying to maintain online lifestyles they can't actually afford. So eventually the narrator says things started getting stranger. Apparently she became extremely protective of her phone. Now honestly, that's always where relationship anxiety begins. The phone flipping, the screen hiding, the random smiling at messages, the sudden password changes. And according to the narrator, every time he brought it up, she'd instantly become defensive. You don't trust me. You're insecure. You're controlling. Bro, manipulation through guilt is unbelievably common now, especially online. People learn therapy language from TikTok and suddenly weaponize it against everybody around them. And honestly, that's another modern internet problem nobody talks about enough. A lot of people now use psychological language to avoid accountability. Everything becomes toxic, insecure, controlling, narcissistic, trauma response. Meanwhile, sometimes somebody is simply lying. That's it. So, according to the narrator, things escalated after he accidentally saw an email notification pop up on her laptop. Bro, this is where the entire story completely changes. Apparently, the email was from a debt collection agency. Now imagine that moment. Seriously, you're dating somebody who looks rich online, and suddenly you realize they might secretly be drowning financially. That kind of realization probably feels surreal. The narrator says he didn't confront her immediately. And honestly, I understand why. Because sometimes when you discover something shocking, your brain almost refuses to process it. You start trying to rationalize it. Maybe it's old debt. Maybe it's a mistake. Maybe there's an explanation. But apparently over the next few weeks, he starts noticing more things. Late payment notices, hidden credit cards, random calls, and eventually, bro, he discovers something absolutely insane. Most of her luxury lifestyle online was fake. Fake. The bags? Mostly replicas. The luxury trips? Paid with debt. The fancy dinners? Credit cards. The designer clothes? Returned after photos. Bro, imagine realizing your entire relationship was partially built around a performance. That's horrifying. And honestly, I think this is becoming way more common than people realize. Social media rewards appearance more than reality. That creates incredibly dangerous incentives. People start thinking, it doesn't matter if my life is real, as long as it looks real online. And eventually that mindset destroys people psychologically. So, according to the narrator, he finally confronts her. And apparently at first, she completely breaks down crying. Now honestly, that part genuinely made me feel bad for her, because you can tell this wasn't some evil mastermind criminal. This was somebody completely psychologically addicted to validation. And honestly, bro, I think social media validation is becoming one of the most addictive substances on earth. Likes, views, attention, followers, compliments. That dopamine cycle genuinely changes people. So apparently she admits that everything started years earlier. She originally posted normal content, small account, normal life, regular photos. But then one luxury post suddenly blew up. And according to her, that changed everything. More followers, more attention, more compliments, more engagement. And slowly, she became obsessed with maintaining the illusion. Bro, imagine becoming trapped inside your own fake identity. That sounds psychologically exhausting. And honestly, I think a lot of influencers are secretly living exactly like this. Constant pressure, constant comparison, constant performance. Meanwhile, their real lives may be collapsing behind the scenes. Now, this part of the story reminded me of something that happened to one of my friend's cousins in Los Angeles. No joke, this girl looked insanely successful online. I'm talking private jets, luxury hotels, influencer parties, designer brands, VIP clubs. Bro, her Instagram looked like billionaire lifestyle content, and everybody around her thought she was absolutely crushing life. Then apparently one day, her landlord showed up publicly screaming about unpaid rent. Bro, turns out she was almost 6 months behind, and apparently almost everything online was fake. The cars, rental shoots, the jets, group photo packages influencers split together. The hotels, one night stays purely for content. The handbags, returned after photos. And honestly, bro, that story disturbed me because it revealed how fake social media really is. People aren't posting reality anymore. They're posting aspirational fiction. And eventually, even they start believing it. So back to the Reddit story. Apparently after the confrontation, things somehow became even worse. Because now the narrator realizes she wasn't just hiding debt. She was actively taking out more debt trying to maintain the illusion. Bro, that's addiction behavior. Seriously. That's the same psychological cycle gamblers fall into. The desperate belief that one more risk will finally fix everything. And honestly, I think influencer culture has become financially dangerous for millions of people. Because normal lifestyles online now look like failure. That's insane. A regular stable life should not feel embarrassing. But social media algorithms constantly push extremes. Extreme wealth, extreme beauty, extreme success, extreme luxury. Eventually, regular reality starts feeling not enough. That psychological pressure destroys people. So, according to the narrator, eventually, he discovers something even more disturbing. Apparently, she had secretly been talking to older wealthy men online. Now this is where the relationship completely starts collapsing. And honestly, the craziest part? She apparently didn't even fully consider it cheating. Because in her mind, it was networking. Bro, modern internet culture has genuinely blurred relationship boundaries beyond recognition. Apparently these guys were paying for dinners, sending gifts, flying her to events, helping fund her content lifestyle. And honestly, that entire influencer ecosystem feels unbelievably predatory because it creates environments where attention becomes currency, appearance becomes business, relationships become transactional. That's dark. And apparently the narrator became completely emotionally destroyed after discovering this. Now honestly, bro, I genuinely felt bad for the guy. Because imagine slowly realizing the person you loved might have been performing an identity the entire relationship. That kind of betrayal probably creates permanent trust issues. So eventually they start having massive arguments. And apparently every argument turned into the same thing. She'd say, "You don't understand my world." Bro, that line alone says everything. Because eventually social media becomes its own psychological reality. Influencers stop measuring life normally. Everything becomes engagement, growth, aesthetics, perception, clout. Meanwhile, real life starts disappearing. And honestly, I think some people online are becoming psychologically disconnected from reality entirely. Now, this next part genuinely shocked me. Apparently, the narrator eventually discovers she had secretly taken out a personal loan. Bro, a personal loan. To maintain Instagram lifestyle content. That's horrifying. And honestly, I think there are way more people doing this than anybody realizes. Credit card debt, buy now, pay later. Personal loans, luxury financing, all to appear successful online. That's dystopian. And apparently she genuinely believed her account would eventually blow up enough to fix everything. Bro, that's basically gambling psychology. The belief that one big win will solve years of bad decisions. And honestly, that mindset destroys people. So eventually, according to the narrator, he reaches his breaking point. And honestly, I don't think I could stay either. Apparently, he says the final straw happened when he discovered she'd secretly used one of his photos in a fake power couple business post. Now imagine how disturbing that feels. You suddenly realize your relationship itself became part of somebody's online performance. That's genuinely creepy. Apparently, she'd been posting fake captions about entrepreneurship, success mindset, building together, luxury couple goals. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, debt collectors were literally calling, "Bro, that level of fake reality is terrifying." And honestly, I think social media has created a generation terrified of appearing average. That's dangerous, because average stable life is actually good. Peaceful relationships, stable finances, honest communication. That's success. Not pretending to be rich online while secretly collapsing. Now, this entire story reminded me of another situation somebody emailed me about recently. Apparently, this guy in Miami started dating a woman who looked extremely successful online. Luxury lifestyle, business trips, designer outfits, everything. And bro, apparently after 8 months, he discovers she was living with 3 roommates while pretending she owned the apartment. No joke. She'd literally wait until the roommates left to film luxury apartment content. Bro, Imagine living double lives like that. That sounds mentally exhausting. And honestly, I think social media is pushing people toward increasingly performative identities. The line between reality and branding is disappearing. That's scary. So eventually, according to the story, the relationship ends. And apparently the breakup became incredibly emotional. The narrator says she kept crying and saying, "You don't understand how hard it is to keep up online." And honestly, that line genuinely stuck with me, because I think millions of people secretly feel that pressure now. The pressure to appear successful, appear attractive, appear rich, appear happy, appear interesting. Meanwhile, real life becomes secondary. And honestly, bro, that future scares me, especially with AI now making fake lifestyles even easier. Fake vacations, fake photos, fake voices, fake influencers, fake relationships. Eventually, people genuinely may not know what's real online anymore. That's dystopian. And honestly, I think stories like this are becoming modern cautionary tales. Because this wasn't really about money. It wasn't even really about cheating. It was about identity, the psychological addiction to appearing successful. And honestly, bro, that addiction destroys people. So if there's one thing everybody listening should take away from this story, it's this. Be extremely careful comparing your life to people online, especially influencers, because you genuinely have no idea what's happening behind the scenes. Debt, stress, fake branding, loans, depression, relationship problems. A lot of perfect lives online are basically professionally edited illusions. And honestly, the saddest part of this entire story is that the girlfriend probably wasn't even chasing luxury anymore. She was chasing validation, the feeling of being admired, the feeling of finally mattering. And honestly, bro, desperate people chasing validation become incredibly vulnerable to self-destruction. Anyway, guys, let me know in the comments. Would you stay with somebody after discovering their entire influencer lifestyle was fake? Because honestly, the longer I thought about this story, the darker it became. And, if you enjoyed the video, subscribe for more Reddit stories, relationship drama, internet horror, scam investigations, and psychological rabbit holes. And remember, sometimes the people pretending to live the perfect life online are secretly the most lost people in the room.